So what is the Legend of Zelda No Sword Challenge?
Gee, it sure is boring around here.
My boy, this peace is what all true warriors strive for.
I just wonder what Ganon's up to.
Your Majesty, Ganon and his minions have seized the island of Korodai.
How can we help?
It is written, only Link can defeat Ganon.
Great, I'll grab my stuff.
There is no time. Squadala, we are off.
Adding challenges to classic games breathes new life in some of these cold french fries. Something to change up the classic grind of a game always makes for an interesting experience. Hell, game hacks have existed since regular people could afford computers. Most hacks and challenges usually give the player more freedom than before, in particular removing boundaries and limitations to let the player go wild. Some hacks and challenges add in self-imposed roadblocks just to give you an additional sense of challenges, and also extra necessary hernias to boot. Extra hard enemies, difficult puzzles, all the like. But what happens when your main tool of defending yourself is taken away? The Legend of Zelda is one of the classic Big Three franchises from Nintendo. The adventures of Zelda running around, gathering items, clearing dungeons, and saving Princess Link have been happening ever since the original Legend of Zelda was released in 1986 on the NES. The original is standard for a grid-based adventure game. Gather items all around the map using your sword to kill any enemies you come across. Enter these tunnels and buy things from the shops to help progress the game. Find and complete hidden dungeons. Embrace your inner pyro by setting the entire forest on fire to find hidden passages. Get hidden monies, destroy this man's house and have to pay for the damages. And in the end, fight Ganon the pig and save the princess. All simple enough, right? Even in the base game, there exists an adjusted game called Second Quest, which swaps all the location of things and dungeon layouts, which changes the way you play the game. There exist hundreds of hacks that I can't even get all into. Basically, any way you want to play The Legend of Zelda, you can play it with some searching. So how about playing the game without your main weapon? So in The Legend of Zelda, you start out and immediately placed in front of a cave. In this cave, you find a meme that gives you a sword. This sword is your primary weapon in the game that you use to defend yourself. But what happens if you don't grab it? Then the game at its core is eternally different. For one, how do you get anything? You can't kill enemies with your bare hands. Well, better yet, where do you get any money? No enemies means no drops, which means no rupees, which means no shops, which again means no way to defend yourself. All you can do is run around and avoid enemies and their projectiles. So how to even start this challenge? Well, there's a couple ways, but the best way is going to your local gamble house in the top right hand corner of the map and taking advantage of a fake wall which leads to this dungeon, which hides a hidden moblin with a gift of 100 rupees. Now, while you probably want to waste that money at the casino, I highly recommend you start off with a blue candle. It's a permanent menu item that you won't lose at death, and it's an attack. A really shitty attack that you can only do once per screen, but an attack nonetheless. Also with this, you can now burn bushes, so hopefully you know all the location of the generous moblins with money and heart containers. From here, you try to complete the game as normal. You just might have to stock up more on bombs more often. A few wrinkles though. Money becomes essential, as you'll probably need to get the permanent items like the blue ring and the big shield as soon as possible, and be able to restock on bombs as well. The best way to earn money? Well, you can glitch the money making game, but that's no fun. Just rough it out on the overworld forehead with the candle like a real hero. But if you want to find an actually good grinding zone, go to Dungeon 2, you know, the one with the snakes. If they see you in a direct line of sight, they will immediately stop what they're doing and charge at you, which, if you are crafty, will send them head first into some fire. Enemies in this playthrough are generally difficult, but Dark Nuts and Wizros in particular will be the absolute end of you. Both can only be affected by bombs early on, and both occupy rooms and dungeons that require you to defeat them all to move on. This leads to a lot of repeated processes of coming in a room, trying to bomb them all, running out of bombs, and leaving to stock up and repeat. This gets old really fast. Dungeon 5 is a legit almost game-breaking experience with this. If you find any bomb upgrades, get them immediately. The goal of this game isn't even to beat Ganon. No. The real goal is to get the magical rod. If you get the rod, you win. Good job. The rod, besides giving you a projectile attack, can physically hurt enemies if they are touched by it, similar to a sword. Not just the regular sword, mind you, but the white sword. With this, the game is basically just vanilla Legend of Zelda, besides the Wizrobes. They still fuck you up and aren't affected at all by the wand. You truly achieve victory in this run by making it to the final fight with Ganon. Since Ganon absolutely requires a sword poke to be defeated, there is no possible way to fight him without it. So take your victory lap, grab the white sword or the magical sword, and kick his ass. This whole challenge's strategy and lore was built up ever since the game's initial release, starting from the question of, hey, can I not get the sword? And oh wow, I wonder how far I can get without it. It's a simple premise, but it's decently challenging to keep you occupied for a while, and I recommend everyone try it at least once, though the difficulty can be rough. I'm looking straight at you, Dungeon 5. And hey, if it becomes too difficult, you can always try clipping through blocks like a dirty cheater. This challenge gets 4 Wizrobes out of 5. Welcome, and there it is. There we are. Now what's down here? Pay me for the door repairs. You just took my $1. Screw you. Oh, I hit myself.